Okay class, today we are in section 6.2, solve linear systems by substitution. Before, you solved systems of linear equations by graphing. Now, you will solve systems of linear equations by substitution. Why? So you can find tubing costs as in exercise 32. Key vocabulary, systems of linear equations. Key concept, solve a linear system using the substitution method. Step 1. Solve one of the equations for one of its variables. When possible, solve for a variable that has a coefficient of 1 or negative 1. Step 2. Substitute the expression from step 1 into the other equation and solve for the other variable. Step 3. Substitute the value from step 2 into the revised equation from step 1 and solve. Example 1. Use the substitution method. Solve the linear system. Y is equal to 3x plus 2, that's equation 1, and x plus 2y is equal to 11. Solution. Solve for y. Equation 1 is already solved for y. Y is equal to 3x plus 2. Now we're going to take equation 1, where it says whatever the value is for y, and y is 3x plus 2, we're going to put that right there. We're going to put that right there. So we're going to end up saying 2 times 3x plus 2. Now this is how it looks when it's done. Step 2, substitute 3x plus 2 for y in equation 2 and solve for x. X plus 2y is equal to 11. That's your equation 2. X plus 2 times y. What was y equal to? Y was equal to 3x plus 2. So in place of that y, we're going to put 3x plus 2. And that's equal to 11. Now after doing so, we're going to solve for y. First we simplify. When we do that, we end up with 7x plus 4 is equal to 11. We subtract 4 from each side, and we end up with 7x is equal to 7. Divide each side by 7, and we end up with x is equal to 1. Now for those who need to see that, x plus 2 times 3x plus 2 is equal to 11. We use our distributive property. 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 2 is 4. X plus 6x is 7x. Bring the 4 down. Bring the equal sign down. Bring down the 11. Since we're solving for x, we want to get that 7x by itself first. So we're going to say minus 4 minus 4. Once again, what are we using? The inverse property. 4 is going to cancel out. And we will end up with 7x is equal to 7. Divide both sides by 7, and x is equal to 1. Okay, now that we found the value for x, we're going to substitute the x back into the original equation, or the equation that's easiest to work. So in place of x, we're going to put 1. In place of x, we're going to put 1. So we got y is equal to 3x plus 2. So y is equal to 3 times 1 plus 2. 3 times 1 is 3. Bring on the plus 2, and then 3 plus 2 is 5. So we find out that our solution is going to be that the x value is 1 and the y value is 5. Example 2. Use the substitution method. Solve the linear system x minus 2y is equal to a negative 6. And 4x plus 6y is equal to 4. Solution. Step 1. Solve equation 1 for x. So I get x minus 2y is equal to a negative 6. When solved for x, I end up with x is equal to 2y minus 6. Don't forget, plus 2y to this side, plus 2y to this side. That's going to cancel out, and x will be by itself. On this side, you have a negative 6 plus 2y, negative 6 plus 2y. So they cannot be combined, so you end up with 2y minus 6. Next, step 2, substitute 2y minus 6 for x in equation 2 and solve for y. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the 2y minus 6 and substitute. So first we write equation 2 for x plus 6y is equal to 4. Substitute 2y minus 6 for x. So 4 times 2y minus 6 plus 6y is equal to 4. We apply the distributive property. 8y minus 24 plus 6y is equal to 4. 4 times 2y is 8y. 4 times a negative 6 is a negative 24. I bring down the 6y, bring down the 4. Simplify. We're going to combine all like terms on the left-hand side. 8y plus a 6y is a 14y. And then, of course, the negative 24 can't be added to anything, so we bring that down. Now we add 24 to each side. Once again, we're trying to get the y by itself. So the 14y stays together for right now, but we're trying to get the y by itself. All right, so to do that, we got to say plus 24 plus 24. A negative 24, when combined with a positive 24, would give you a 14y left by itself. 24 plus 4, that's going to be 28. And then we divide both sides by 14, and that gives us y is equal to 2. So now we have our y value. Now we got to go back and find our x value. So we find the easiest equation to work with. This looks easier than this one to me, but it doesn't matter which one you pick, because if you do the math right, it's going to give you the same answer. So y is equal to 2. So I come down here, I take my first equation, x is equal to 2y minus 6. I substitute 2 in place of y. So x is equal to 2 times 2 minus 6. What's 2 times 2? That's 4. 4 minus 6 is a negative 2. So x is equal to negative 2 and y was equal to 2. So my solution is negative 2, 2. Example 3. Solve a multi-step problem. Websites. Many businesses pay website hosting companies to store and maintain the computer files that make up their websites. Internet service providers also offer website hosting. The cost for website hosting offered by a website hosting company and an internet service provider are shown in the table. Find the number of months after which the total cost for website hosting will be the same for both companies. Here's our table: company, internet service provider, and website hosting company. Setup fee in dollars. The internet service provider charges $10. The website hosting company charges nothing. Cost per month. The internet service provider charges $21.95 per month, and the website hosting company charges $22.45 per month. Solution. Step 1. Write a system of equations. Let y be the total cost after x months. Equation 1. Internet service provider. Total cost, y. Let y be the total cost after x months. Equals setup fee, they charge $10. Plus the cost per month, that's $21.95 times x, the number of months. Equation 2, website hosting company. Total cost, y. Let y be the total cost. Cost per month, they charge nothing. Setup fee, they charge nothing. But cost per month, they charge $22.45. So $22.45 times x. That would be the cost per month. The system of equations you have is y is equal to 10x plus 21.95x, and y is equal to 22.45 times x. Now notice that both of these equations are already solved for y. Both of the equations are already solved for y. So it's like saying that y is equal to y. So you write this side here, and you write this side there. So if y is equal to y, what you're really saying is 10 plus 21.95x is equal to 22.45x. That's another way of looking at it. Okay, y is equal to y. All right, now let's continue. Substitute 22.45x for y in equation 1 and then solve for x. So we got y is equal to 10 plus 21.95x. So in place of this y, I'm going to put this equation, 22.45x. It's the same as I had written up there in green, just an easier way to see it. Okay, so now we're going to subtract 21.95 from each side. Why? Because we have variables where? On both sides. And our rule is remove the smaller number. So in this case, that's going to be 21.95 here, negative. 21.95 here, negative. Here, 20.195 minus the 21.95. Don't forget there should be x on it. 21.95x. That means that's going to cancel out. I'm left with 10. Now 21.45x minus 21.95x will give me 0.5x. So now I divide each side by 0.5. 0.5 here, 0.5 there. 0.5 divided by 0.5 is equal to 1, so I'm left with just 1x. And then 10 divided by 0.5 will give me 20. So the total cost will be the same for both companies after 20 months. Example 4. Solve a mixture problem. Antifreeze. For extremely cold temperatures, an automobile manufacturer recommends that a 70% antifreeze and 30% water mix be used in the cooling system of a car. How many quarts of pure 100% antifreeze and a 50% antifreeze and a 50% water mix should be combined to make 11 quarts of a 70% antifreeze and 30% water mix? Solution. Step 1. Write an equation for the total number of quarts and an equation for the number of quarts of antifreeze. Let x be the number of quarts of 100% antifreeze, and let y be the number of quarts of a 50% antifreeze and a 50% water mix. Equation 1. Total number of quarts. That's going to be x plus y is equal to 11. X plus y is equal to 11. Equation 2. Number of quarts of antifreeze. X quarts of 100% antifreeze, that's going to be 1 times x at 100%, plus y quarts of a 50-50 mix, that's going to be plus 0.5 times y, and that's equal to the total mixture, that's the final one that we want to get, that's 70-30 mix, that's going to be equal to 0.7. Now don't forget, this part right here may look a little bit confusing, but remember what they said. They said should be combined to make 11 quarts of a 70% antifreeze and 30% water mix. Alright, step 2, I'm going to solve equation 1 for x. X plus y is equal to 11. To get x by itself, I say minus y minus y. X is equal to 11 minus y. Step 3, substitute 11 minus y for x in equation 2 and solve for y. Equation 2, x plus 0.5y is equal to 7.7. In place of x, substitute in 11 minus y. After putting in 11 minus y, then we're going to solve for y. So I got 11 minus y plus 0.5y. Okay, after substituting, we find that 11 minus y plus 0.5y is equal to 7.7. Here, the book made an error, and we can take a look and see. 11 minus y plus 0.5y is equal to 7.7. That's okay so far. 11 minus y plus 0.5y is equal to 7.7. Just wrote it without the parentheses. Now here, what number is in front of that y? There's a 1 there. So I got 11 minus 1y plus 0.5y is equal to 7.7. Well, when you take a negative 1 and combine it with a half, you end up with a negative half. So that's why we end up with 0.5y is equal to 6.6. Divide both sides by negative 0.5 by negative 0.5, and y is equal to a negative 13.2. Now I take that and plug it back up into the most simplest equation. So I get x is equal to 11 minus y, and x is equal to 11 minus a negative 13.2. That's what we just had. A negative times a negative would give me a positive. So I end up with x is equal to 24.2. So my final answer then is x is 24.2 and y was a negative 13.2. You may now begin your assignment.